Morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first cybersecurity summit, and I've learned so much the past few days. That's really impressive. The group, everyone who is in this room, the incredible work you all do is really impressive. Really, and thank you for sharing everything. So at Princeton, my group is in charge of monitoring for academic and administrative departments all across the university. We monitor our network, we monitor all of our servers, whether they're for academic research or for administrative needs, applications on-prem and in the cloud, and all of our devices that are on our campus network as well. So we see it all. I'd just like to, we have many tools that we leverage at the university for monitoring, but I wanted to focus on a few that my team actually manages, and more for you can definitely look at the vendors that we use, but more for the viewpoints that we get from these tools are the important aspect I want to point out, that these tools provide protocols and views and tests that we can leverage on our network to really see what's going on our network and to pinpoint problems and get to that resolution very quickly when there are problems. So the tools in the middle, Nagios XI and StatSeeker are our legacy tools. StatSeeker has been our SNMP monitoring tool for all of our network and UPS units and UC gateways, Nagios XI for our servers. And then in 2019, we purchased ExtraHop for network detection response, which has been a great tool for us in terms of performance monitoring on our network and security monitoring on the network. So we made a decision in 2019 where we tap key parts of our data centers and wireless network and internet service with optical taps, and we built an aggregation layer that feeds network packets into ExtraHop, and we get a great analysis now with performance and security from many devices that we had never seen that visibility with our other tools before. So all of our IoT, anything that doesn't have an endpoint detection agent running on it, so we get a lot clearer view of what's going on our network. Thousand Eyes, we originally purchased in 2019 for BGP monitoring for our internet services, but then we started leveraging Thousand Eyes for synthetic transactions for a lot of our cloud and on-prem applications. And we leverage that for security as well, with monitoring our cloud providers for DNS services and their BGP as well, to make sure that we have secure cloud connectivity for everyone. So our main goal is that we want to avoid excuses, and we hear these all the time, that there were network blips, that we're not sure, we missed that alert, and it must be the firewall that's having a problem. And so we've been really working with people across enterprise systems, across research areas, and in central IT to really give people actionable data for their services so that they can really identify if it is an issue with their application, if it's an issue with their server, if there's a broader network issue taking place. And this is our foundation that we've built on with these key pillars around monitoring, with availability, detection, reachability, performance, and reliability. And I'll go into some of these areas as we go through. So over the 3 years that we've been building out our program, we've really had success with our partnerships that we've built across central IT and across various departments. And we've started out very slow. Our first use case was with student course registration, where we worked closely with that team of database administrators, application developers, our server team, our network teams, to monitor course registration, that 5-minute window where everyone's registering for classes and ensuring performance is where it needs to be for that 5-minute window each semester. And And building out those partnerships has been really the key for our success. So the primary areas that we work with departments on are dashboarding, providing reports, alerts, and that visibility and detection awareness for them. So when we see something, especially with our network detection, we will be able to identify slowdowns for them that might impact a specific service or a broader number of services as well. And we built out a goal and mission for our services so that when people come to us and want to have monitoring for their application that they're running, we want to provide them that actionable data for their service and partner with them throughout. So some people might just want alerts for their service. Some people might want us to help them determine the best way to monitor their service. So we will look at their data for them and provide analysis as we're working with them. And we've been working to retire some legacy tools that we have and leverage the tools that we do have to their fullest. So we really take those capabilities to their top. So over the past year, we've been planning out best practices for monitoring. And I wanted to share these with the group because monitoring has been basically thought about after an implementation has been completed for a service, and we want to be part of this service as it's being designed, as it's being planned out, and all the way through implementation and operation. So with planning, we ask teams to identify staff and resources on their team to actually have monitoring in their job descriptions and provide some portion of their time dedicated to monitoring so that we can work with those staff members. And then work with those staff members as they're going through the year to ensure that monitoring is part of their performance reviews at the end of the year to ensure that monitoring is being addressed for their service and addressed in a manner that that they're seeing positive impact from the monitoring. And I can go into these different areas, but just collaborating with us on a regular basis, and then testing and tuning as people are going into their operational areas is really important. So when people make changes in their areas, I'll go into this in a later slide, but we see this all the time where a change takes place in an area and people forget to notify the monitoring team that the change takes place, and we're not monitoring the right service or the right threshold for that service. And just not ignoring alerts when they do take place. We've been continually working with teams to resolve alerts that they've been seeing so that we can get a clearer picture of what's taking place on our network and in our environment. So we've been trying to embed monitoring into the services that OIT and the Office of Information Technology provides already. So we work across our service management platform to ensure that monitoring is built into our request area, change management, incident management, and knowledge management. And I'll get into change and incident in a couple slides. But with knowledge management, we've been working to document for a service provider how their service is monitored. So we'll work with our crash plan team, our PeopleSoft team, to ensure that we have a documented process on how their service is monitored. And our auditing team really appreciates this, that the documentation is there for them so that when their service is being reviewed, they can just go to a knowledge article and see how we're monitoring their service. With change management in particular, we defined practices that people should leverage during change management so that they're monitoring, they're looking at their systems prior to making a change, they're leveraging our logging and metrics during the change that's taking place, and then after the change is completed, also reviewing logs and metrics for their service to ensure that that change is successful. We've had a lot of people where that they'll make a change and they'll not detect an issue with a dependency, and so we've been documenting for people, that this should be part of your change plan, to include monitoring and ensuring that those steps are followed for success across the whole process. And then with responding to monitoring alerts for incidents, we've come up with a best practice outline where we ask our service providers to include timestamps for when problems are taking place, include log messages in their incidents, and submitting change requests that include the information, but what they've seen from the incident in their change, and any screenshots and outage pages that they need to include in their incident. Normally, we would see just one line that I've restarted a server, but not knowing why that server was restarted, but including in that those details are really important so that we can improve the monitoring in the future during these changes. And then during the post-alert review, we also work with people to ensure that if we weren't monitoring a service that caused an incident, that we do improve that monitoring as well. So the partnerships we've built have been really key to our success with information security. We meet with our information security team every 2 weeks, where we review security detections that the monitoring team has seen, in particular with ExtraHop, and we tune those detections together. We review what might be actionable, what might have issues. We have a chat system with them as well, with the security team, where we can ask questions about detections that we see on the network. And that has been a great success with that communication. With our service desk, we've created dashboards for them to use in their service desk area, where they can have on their big screens our monitoring systems and know at a glance if there are major issues taking place. And then the university departments that we've worked with on the administrative side, with our library, with facilities, with our audit and compliance team, have been great partnerships in terms of providing, for example, our library. We've provided them direct access to our monitoring tools, and they use our tools directly to see when there are issues with library systems. Our facilities team, we've partnered with them for monitoring security cameras all across campus and for monitoring key IoT systems across campus, our Siemens system. And then for academic departments, we've been partnering with our neuroscience and computer science departments and astrophysics department, and to be able to provide our monitoring data for either research needs, or we also provide them monitoring analysis for storage performance, for any server performance that they might be addressing. And they've been great partnerships where either we provide them access directly to our monitoring tools, or they might partner with us to say, we're seeing a performance hit on our storage. Have you seen anything, across the enterprise? And we'll work with them to provide that analysis as well. And then just our internal IT teams for infrastructure and applications. We built out cohorts this year where we meet with cohorts from our application teams and our infrastructure teams to go over use cases for monitoring as well. And those have been really helpful for people. So just an example for crash plan services, we monitor traffic utilization going out to crash plan for backing up our systems, and we monitor restore utilization as well for any restore traffic coming back from crash plan cloud services. We document this for the crash plan team, what type of alerts we've set up, so that they can see thresholds if there's a significant drop in backup traffic. If there's a large influx of restored traffic, they can see that there might be something taking place and what the dependencies are. Another example that we had was with the CrowdStrike outage on July 19th. We were able to see CrowdStrike performance, traffic going back and forth between the CrowdStrike cloud and campus. So we could see that we weren't directly, all of our systems weren't impacted 100%. That the dark blue line is what happened on the 19th, and the lighter blue line is the 18th, which is our typical traffic pattern to CrowdStrike. So we could actually see that most of our systems were up and running okay, but we did have a significant hit with our servers and with our desktops. And then this example is with Thousand Eyes. This is during course registration. Thousand Eyes, it has a great synthetic transaction capability where we can see our entire stack for a single application. So this is our PeopleSoft environment where students log on for course registration, and we use it for financials and for HR. And my circles didn't appear here, but on the right-hand side is where everything kind of leveled out. April 20th is when we basically detected an issue with one of our proxy servers. Prior to that, one of our proxy servers had an issue and causing the spikes in traffic because there was an increase in traffic to just using one of our proxy servers at the time. And when we reset that proxy server, the traffic pattern leveled out, and we could see that taking place with Thousand Eyes, which was very helpful. This is another example with our StatSeeker tool of trying to provide information to our various units around campus for knowing when the network had problems across campus and providing people a visual when they're not network administrators to be able to see, okay, the green dots are basically every building on campus, and when those dots turn red, that there might be an issue with that the network in that building. And our facilities team and our public safety team, they leverage this every day to know if they see sensors going down for a Siemens control panel or for a security camera, they can come to this dashboard and see if the underlying network has an issue before they take action to look at their cameras or their other systems. So this is a very easy dashboard for those teams to leverage. And then with ExtraHop, this is an example of a security investigation that we had where we had a device on our wireless network that was scanning our wireless controllers, trying to log on as different admin users, root, a variety of different users, and doing ping scans across the network. But what we like about ExtraHop is it provides this visual, so we knew exactly which victims the offender was trying to connect with at that time period. And we could see from the spike in RDP connections, the DNS reverse lookup scans, we can see all the activity that offender was taking place at that time and which systems were being impacted as well. So this was very helpful. And then my last use case, I just wanted to share this one. This was, we were seeing performance slowdowns over the summertime where services weren't going down, but we were seeing performance where there would be periodic times where there would be a hit where we would see performance go from like 10 seconds to like 40 seconds for various services that we were monitoring. And so we started investigating this with ExtraHop and StatSeekers down below, but seeing that basically there was a change in our backup patterns on July 19th, and we were able to validate that with two different tools that we leverage, and to see that the amount of packet traffic from backups were impacting performance in one of our data centers. And when they did adjust the backup time periods, then we were able to get back down to a performance level that was more in our normal range. So this was very helpful with two different tools. So in terms of future initiatives, we're looking into observability tools, leveraging metrics and logs and tracing all in one tool, and also some AOps capabilities. We're hoping to, once we do get one of those tools in place, to have that tool work with ServiceNow so that we can provide alerts into ServiceNow and create a dashboard for people to look at in ServiceNow. We've been working quite a bit with Azure monitoring services. Azure is going to be our primary platform for our cloud services, and just leveraging automation much more in the future as well. So in terms of this group as well, I would love to work with people in terms of developing monitoring practices for researchers and best practices, and learning about what you've seen in your institutions as well. So if anyone is interested in partnering, I do have my email address here and my LinkedIn, and I would love to talk to people about building out a best practice and requirements that you see in your areas for researchers. Thank you very much.
If you have any questions.
Hey, this is great, and you obviously have a very mature program there. I was wondering how many FTEs it takes to run this program and to do the analysis on your systems.
I'm sorry, how many?
How many people do you have working for you?
So there are 4 people in our monitoring team. So one person primarily with our network monitoring, and one person for server and application. And then we just hired a data analyst who's actually working with us to visualize some of these reports, working on correlating some of the data from these different systems for management reports and for other spotlights on monitoring. So yeah, there's four of us all together.
Are they full-time on security?
Well, we work closely with our information security office is right down the hall from us. But so I would say for security, probably there are 3 of us that work on the security detections, and so it's part of 3 people's duties. So maybe at least half an FTE probably on security out of that group. But primarily we do work quite a bit with our security team to ensure that those detections coming out of ExtraHop, that we either know to take action on them or to tune them. So that's just regular traffic, that's part of our business.
What are your views on your change management program in a case of where everybody is doing continuous integration with their software and system updates? How do you manage that?
So I sit on our change board, and so when changes do come up to the change board area, I can ask those teams how they plan on leveraging monitoring, prior to the change and after the change. Some of the major changes that do take place, our team will be part of those changes directly, so we will provide that support for them so that the team that is making the change can focus on their service, and then we'll monitor the environment, in general to ensure that we don't see anything taking place while a major network change is going on, for example. for, in particular for our load balancer. When our load balancer gets upgraded, we sit on those changes because that's a major impact to a number of services. And so we support that team so that they can focus on the load balancer.
This is a great presentation, and
Oh, thank you.
and I have quick questions. Since some of the universities are not at that level of financially, so what is the rough estimated budget that in order to to have minimum of required services?
It's hard to hear the rough estimated budget.
Yep, the budget for the minimum required services.
That's a good question. So it's the legacy tools that we have. They're I'd have to think of the full number. So probably I would say around 200,000 a year for the licensing, maybe for the maintenance and licensing for all those different tools. It's a little bit different. I would say Extra Hop is on the higher end, and then StatSeeker and Nagios on the lower end of the budgeting, and Thousand Eyes has been very reasonable. We Thousand Eyes, you pay for the units that you want to leverage for the amount of tests you want to run and for the number of agents you want the tests to run from. So you can run tests from all over the world, and so you basically you pay for what you want to run. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.